This lesson is on multiplying polynomials by monomials, and we have actually already done this. It's just distributing, and we saw this back when we were learning our rules of exponents. So like in this first problem, I want to multiply negative 6t times everything inside my parentheses. So one thing I had mentioned was let's just cover up part of the problem and just focus on what's necessary. So this has a 1 in front, you just don't see it. What is negative 6 times 1? Negative 6. When you multiply your t's together, what do you do with the exponents? Add them. So it's t to the third. Then I'm going to multiply with the inside part. So I'm going to start with my coefficients. What's negative 6 times 5? Negative 30. And then what's t times t? T squared, because I add the exponents. Okay, then I go to the back side. I take negative 6 times negative 6, which makes how much? Positive 36. And then this t doesn't have anything else to multiply with, so it just recopies. Okay, I'm done multiplying. The only thing I can do at this point is add or subtract like terms, but none of these are like terms. They're all the same variable, but they're not the same exponent. So I can't add or subtract unless it's same variable with same exponent. And that's it. That's all I can do. Okay, let's look at number 2. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to distribute the p squared q cubed times that and the p squared q cubed times that. That's hard to say. Q cubed, q cubed. So let's focus on just the front part. Start with the p's. When you multiply your p's, what do you do with the exponents? You add them, so it's p to the third. When you multiply your q's, what do you do with the exponents? You add them, so it's q to the fourth. Now let's do the guy in the back. There's no coefficient to multiply with the negative 2 besides this 1, so you just get negative 2. And then p squared times p squared makes p to the fourth, because you're adding exponents. And q cubed times q makes q to the fourth. Now, do these variables and exponents look exactly alike? No. This is p cubed, whereas this is p to the fourth. So I cannot add or subtract these because they're not like terms. So that's as good as it gets. Okay, we're actually not going to do quite all of these. Let's go ahead and try number 3, just because it's a mixture of letters again. So I know I'm distributing with the front part, the middle part, and the back part. So I'm just going to take this one piece at a time. Let's just do the front part. I'm going to start with the coefficients. What's negative 3 times positive 2? Negative 6. Then when I go to multiply my r's, what's r times r squared? R cubed, because I'm adding exponents. And what's s times s? S squared, because I'm adding exponents. Now let's go to the middle guy. So I'm going to start with coefficients. What's negative 3 times positive 12? Negative 36. And then is there an r to multiply with? No. Is there an s to multiply with? No. Is there another t to multiply with? Nope. So I just keep them all. I keep the r, I keep the s, I keep the t. Okay, now I'm going to do the back part. So coefficients first. What's negative 3 times negative 7? A positive 21. And then is there another r to multiply with? Nope. Is there another s to multiply with? Nope. So I just keep the rs. Now do any of these look exactly alike? Same variable, same exponent? Nope. So that's it. That's my answer. Okay. We are actually going to go ahead and jump to the back of this. We're doing 2 sections of notes today, so we're going to do this one and then we're going to do another one. And we've already practiced that front page before, so hopefully you get the gist of that. It's just distributing. Okay, this is actually review as well. We're finding perimeter and we're going to find area. So to find perimeter, I'm going to add up all my sides. So before I do that, I need to make sure I know all my sides. How long is this side right here? 2BC. And that's because that bottom piece is 2BC. Okay. The only other piece I don't know is this piece. And can you tell how much that is? If this whole piece is 4BC, this makes up one of the BCs, this makes up another BC, then this would be 2BC. Because BC plus BC is 2BC, plus another 2BC makes your whole thing, which is 4BC. Okay, so now that I want to find perimeter, I'm just going to add up all my sides. So it's going to be 2BC plus 4BC plus 2BC plus BC. Oh, I didn't mark this one down. How long is this one right here? 4BC, and that's because I know the top one's 4BC, so I know this one's 4BC. Okay, so let's try this again. Perimeter will be 2BC plus 4BC plus 2BC plus BC plus 4BC plus 2BC plus 4BC plus BC. Are they all like terms? They sure are. So all I have to do is add the coefficients, and what's 2 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1 plus 4 plus 2 plus 4 plus 1? 20. And then how do the variables look? BC. Whenever you're adding or subtracting, you never change the variables or the exponents. If it starts a BC, it ends a BC. And that's our perimeter. Okay, let's find the area. I could do this a variety of ways. I'm going to go ahead and split this up into two shapes. I'm going to split it up into this rectangle and this rectangle. And how do we find area of a rectangle? We take length times width. So let's do that. What's my length and what's my width over here? My length is 4BC and my width is 2BC. So what do you get if you multiply 4BC and 2BC? We get 8B squared C squared. Because 4 times 2 is 8, B times B is B squared, C times C is C squared. Okay, that's the area of this one. Now let's do the area of this one. I'm taking my length times my width. Once again, I have a 4BC times a 2BC, which makes 8B squared C squared. So my area is this rectangle's area plus this rectangle's area. And what do you think you get when you add those two together? 16B squared C squared. And that's our area. So all you had to do was add the 8 and the 8. 8 plus 8 makes 16. And then you don't change exponents or variables at all whenever you're adding and subtracting. Okay, this next one. First of all, I want everybody to mark down that this length right here is 2R. And now we're going to find the area of just the shaded region. So if I want to find the area of this shaded region, I'm going to find the area of the whole thing, the whole big rectangle, but that's going to be too much area. So I'm going to subtract the circle because the circle isn't shaded. So that's my game plan. To find the area of the shaded, I'm going to take the area of the total shape, this whole big rectangle, but that's too much area, so I'm going to subtract the area of the circle, and that's because the circle isn't shaded. So that's our plan. So let's start with the area of the total. This rectangle, I find the area by taking length times width. So if I want to take length times width, I'm going to take 3R times 2R. And what do you get if you multiply 3R times 2R? 6R squared. 3 times 2 is 6, and when you multiply the r's, you add the exponents, and 1 plus 1 is 2. Okay, so that's the area of the total. And then I'm going to subtract from that the area of the circle. So let's talk about the area of the circle. Do you remember the formula for area of a circle? area of a circle equals pi r squared. Okay, so I need to figure out how long this radius is. So if from here to here is 2r, this whole length right here is 2r. That's the diameter. If the whole length of this, the diameter is 2r, the radius is half that, how long is the radius? Just r. That way the r and another r would make 2r. So it's pi times our radius, which has a length of r, and then I just recopy the squared. So it's just minus pi r squared. And that's the area of the shaded. And we're just going to leave it like that. Okay. If I actually knew what r was, I could go ahead and I could calculate this and get something else, but I'm just going to leave it just like that. Okay, that's that set of notes. So this was doing a little bit of multiplying, a little bit of adding and subtracting, but notice it was just to practice vocabulary. It was multiplying a monomial with a polynomial. So like this one is a 1, 2, 3, a trinomial. So I was multiplying a monomial with a trinomial. Here we multiplied a monomial, one thing, with a binomial, two things, 1, 2. Okay, in this next set of notes, we're going to focus in, nope, that's not it. We're going to focus on multiplying just two binomials together. So remember, a binomial has two parts. So you can see 1, 2, 1, 2. So when I multiply two binomials together, I'm going to do this with distributing also. It's just I'm going to distribute twice. So if I had just this right here, what would I be distributing? I would distribute the x with that x and with that 2. So that's kind of how I do this here. I take this first x and I multiply it with everything inside the second set of parentheses. And then I still have to distribute the 3. I need to distribute the 3, so I'm going to multiply the 3 with everything inside the second set of parentheses. So I'm just double distributing. First I distribute the x with everything in the second set of parentheses. Then I distribute the 3 with everything in the second set of parentheses. So it's just a double distribute. So here we go. What's x times x? X squared. What's x times 2? 2x. What's 3 times x? 3x. And what's 3 times 2? 6. Okay, now I'm done multiplying. I just looked to see if there's any like terms that I could add or subtract. These guys right here, those are like terms, so I can actually add them. I can combine them together. So I just drop the x squared. How much is 2x plus 3x? 5x. And then I just drop the plus 6. And that's my answer. So when I have a binomial times a binomial, I have not just one thing to distribute, I have two things, because there's two things in that first set of parentheses. So first I distribute the x, then I distribute the 3. And sometimes we refer to this as foiling. This is the process of FOIL. First, outside, inside, last. I multiplied the first numbers, then I multiplied the outside numbers, then I multiplied the inside numbers, and then I multiplied the last two numbers. So a lot of times you'll hear it called FOIL. But if you just think of it as double distributing for now, it might be easier. Okay, let's look at another one. First I'm going to distribute the 2x with everything in the back set of parentheses. So let's just do that part. What's 2x times 3x? 6x squared. What's 2x times 7? A positive 14x. Okay, now I need to distribute the second number. So I'm going to distribute the second number with both things inside the second set of parentheses. So how much is negative 9 times 3x? A negative 27x. How much is a negative 9 times a positive 7? A negative 63. Okay, I'm done multiplying. Multiplying is over. And now I want to add and subtract like terms. These are both x's, so I can actually combine those. And what do you get if you combine a 14x minus 27x? A negative 13x. And then just drop your 6x squared, and then just drop your minus 63. And that's our answer. Okay, next one. Okay, I see my parentheses are smushed. That's how I know I'm multiplying. And I have two things to distribute. So first I'm going to distribute the 4y squared with everything in the back set of parentheses. So let's do that part first. What's 4y squared times 8y squared? 32. Y to the fourth because I add exponents. Okay, now let's multiply the 4y squared times the negative 1. That makes a negative 4y squared. Okay, now I need to distribute the negative 1 with both things in the back set of parentheses. So what is negative 1 times 8y squared? A negative 8y squared. And what's negative 1 times negative 1? A positive 1. Okay, at this point I'm done multiplying. I just look to see if I have any like terms to add or subtract. And I do. These are both y squared, so I can combine those. What do you get if you combine a negative 4y squared and a negative 8y squared? A negative 12y squared. And then the 32y to the fourth in the front just drops down, and the positive 1 in the back just drops down, and there's my answer. Okay, just because I know that the first video of going over the homework and watching these videos is taking up a chunk of time, I'm going to go ahead and stop there, because this problem is just like all of those. It's just double distributing and multiplying the binomials versus what is the product. All that means the same thing. Okay, so let's look at your homework assignments for a second. Okay, on this first assignment here, multiply polynomial by monomial. On the front, I just want you to do 3, 4, 7, and 9. So on the front of this one, I want you to do 3, 4, 7, and 9. And then the back page, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have you do this whole back page. So all of back. So all of the back, and on the front page, we're going to do the 3, 4, 7, and 9.
All right.
And then on this one, that went with the last lesson, the assignment multiplying binomials, I'm going to have you do, let's do the evens, 2, 4, 6. And then I'm also going to have you do that whole bottom section, because that whole bottom section is review. So down here where it says mixed review, we're going to do all of this. Okay, that's it. Thank you.